What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me with my 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, and we're going to be talking about some of my must-have accessories and some of the first things I did to my F-150 Lightning right after I purchased it. So I've had my F-150 Lightning for about 2 months now, and I've tested out quite a few different accessories, wanted to make sure that they were up to my standards and that they were actually useful before I show you guys. But this is my 2022 F-150 Lightning. It's a Lariat extended range with the max tow package. I bought it with about 55,000 miles on it. Check out my video about the purchase of it if you haven't already. But let's start in the back, actually, and we're going to dive right into this video. So some of the things that I'm going to show you guys came with the truck and may or may not be the actual version that I would recommend. But I have a whole list down below in the pinned comment and in the description for you guys. That way, if you don't want to watch the whole video, even though I would encourage you to, you can just scroll down to the list at the bottom. Most of those links are affiliate links, so they do help out the channel if you use those links. Would really appreciate if you're interested and if this video is helpful that you do purchase through those links. But let's start out with some of the things I've set here on my tonneau cover. So something that I use pretty often, I use my Tesla mobile connector, actually from the Pro Power onboard. I was lucky that my truck came with this adapter, but if you don't have one of these, this is pretty useful to charge or power accessories from the Pro Power onboard, because as you can see, that is an L14-30 plug, which is not the most common plug. It's pretty commonly used on generators, but otherwise not that common. So you'll need an adapter to use a NEMA 1450, which is very common for EV charging. And I'm linking one of these adapters down below for you guys. So this is just L1430 to 1450. Be mindful that you can only pull up to 30 amps, even though you're adapting it to a 50 amp plug. So be mindful of that with your loads. Here we have an adapter. There are a bunch of these on the market. I'll link this Electron one down below. A to Z also has one, so definitely check it out. Looks like mine actually got damaged. Looks like the latch broke off, but I'll link some options down below on this for you guys. But basically, this allows you to use Tesla mobile connectors or Tesla walled connectors, such as at hotels or if you already have one at home, to basically charge your Lightning, being that it has a J1772 plug on the truck itself. So very useful for hotels. Here we have the A to Z NAX to CCS1 adapter. So this allows you to use Tesla superchargers on your Lightning. There are a bunch of different adapters on the market. I made a whole dedicated video comparing a bunch of different ones. Definitely check out that video. But if you're just looking for the easy recommendation, A to Z is the one that I recommend going with. I do have a discount code down below for you guys. Here we have some basic things for kind of preparedness on the road. So we have a tire plug kit from Slime. I've used these multiple times. I just buy a new one each time. They're like $10 or less, something like that. And then we have an AC or a tire compressor here as well. So that one's battery powered, but can also be powered from your 12-volt system. Very useful, has saved me many times. Luckily, not yet in the Lightning. And the Lightning also does have a full-size spare, as you can see down there. So, but this is still easier in most cases if you don't actually need to put on the spare, to just do a roadside plug if needed. So let's start with some of the additional things in the bed here. So we have this is Rock Block. So this is a bed seal that allows, that way it doesn't have water that gets in from the bottom or dust. That's pretty common, especially if you drive on dirt roads a lot. Or for me, I usually drive through touchless car washes, and many of them will blast up from the bottom to clean off your undercarriage. And then that results in water getting in the bed. So I did this cover. I realized after installing it that they recommend using the wider version. This is the 4.5 inch. They recommend using the 7 inch because of the kind of attachment point here on the hinge. So we'll see how this stands up, but I've linked the correct 7 inch version for you guys and recommend installing that one rather than the incorrect one that I installed, but still you get the point here. I also linked it with a kit that includes this seal kit. So that way you have the seal on the side as well. And of course you need a tonneau cover, otherwise sealing the back is kind of pointless. This one came with my truck. It's fine. It's a WeatherTech alloy cover. I don't think they actually sell these anymore, as far as I can tell. But I linked one that seems pretty similar and seems pretty reasonably priced and well reviewed down below. So hopefully that helps you guys. And then I also added an additional seal, which you can't see, underneath here to keep more water out. So that way this is nicely sealed. I really don't want any water getting in there. Of course, the edges around the front cover are not fully sealed, but that allows some drainage as well. All right, and then we'll come around to the sides. You'll notice these Rock Blocks mud flaps. So these are really nice and sturdy. They use OEM mounts. You only have to drill one hole, but that's in the plastic fender liner, so I don't really consider that to be drilling in the normal sense. You're not drilling into any metal or anything like that. They were not the most fun to install, I'll say. They took about 2 or 3 hours to install, which seems kind of crazy. But I also didn't take the wheels off and I didn't lift the truck, so that probably would have made it easier. But now that they're installed, they are very sturdy. I'm a big fan of them. I've always been a big fan of mud flaps that are large like this. And I'm also a fan of mud flaps that don't wrap around on the factory paint. So most OEM style mud flaps actually will have like a lip that rolls onto the paint. And in my experience, that will usually destroy the paint or hold water, hold grud. Not a fan. So these ones, they just kind of rest there, and that way they don't wrap around and destroy your paint. I have a link down below for those. If you're noticing just how good the paint looks in general, I did do a DIY ceramic coating on it. I have a video down below. It was actually a DIY from when I did it on my previous Tesla Model Y, but the process holds true regardless of the vehicle. Here you'll see some paint protection film. I didn't do the greatest job installing it, but this is from T-Wraps. That way, as people are, especially if they have nails or whatever, they're not scratching up all around here or if they tap in the wrong spot. So that's paint protection film around the door handles. Also paint protection film on the B-pillars. These are piano black, and basically if you look at them wrong, they will scratch. So mine were pretty scratched when I first got it. I took a little bit of rubbing compound and then put on the paint protection film, and now they'll stay looking good forever. Coming down here, we also have some paint protection film on the door sill, so it goes from here all the way to here. Again, not my greatest work on the install, but I was going for function over form here. And that will protect as people drag their feet in or whatever coming into the truck. We'll go around to the front. You can there see the front mud flap and how it will protect from getting as much mud onto the running boards. And then coming up here, so we have this from Radiator Grill Shop. So this is an insert for the factory grill area. It does not interfere with the active grill shutters and keeps some of the crap from getting in there. Similar to the one I recommended on my Model Y. This helps keep leaves, rocks, all that from actually getting to your radiator and keeps it cooling effectively. Also here we have bumper plugs. I made a whole video about that. That way, if you bought a used truck or even a new one that had a front bumper bracket on it and you remove it, they have paint matched inserts like that to be able to remove it nicely. Here we have a net that you can put stuff in the front trunk. And then this is a collapsible laundry bin. I got mine at Costco, but I linked one that's pretty similar on Amazon down below for you guys. This is super useful. I'll often put stuff in that if I go to Costco or the grocery store or whatever, and then that way it's easier to carry inside. We'll shut that. And then coming up here, being that I bought this as a used truck, the wipers were not in the greatest of shape, so I replaced those with some Bosch Icon wipers. It's a set of 2 for the Lightning. And then here we have a antenna delete. I'm not a fan of the big whip antennas, so that actually came with the truck, but I linked that product down below for you guys as well. If you actually use your FM radio, then you may not want to do this. You may want one of the little stubby ones, but I don't care about my radio, so this is totally fine with me. And then while we're up front, something I also want to mention is that I actually enabled the adaptive high beams or matrix headlights function that's available standard in Canada on mine using something called 4Scan. So basically you use a dongle and plug it into the truck, and then you use some specialized software that's actually free for 2 months. and then you can enable all these functions. So I'll link the adapter cable and the guide on how to do that down below for you guys. If you're tech savvy, it's relatively simple, but if you're not tech savvy, then maybe consult with someone that is, because if you don't know what you're doing, you definitely can mess some things up. And before we go into the truck, I thought I'd show my license plate frame. I thought it's kind of funny, so I'll link that down below for you guys as well. And going to the inside of the truck, here you can see the WeatherTech floor mats. These are the ones that my truck came with. Probably not the ones that I would purchase. I'm not a huge fan of the big grooves and the harder material, but they're not terrible. I'd probably go with the 3D mats that I have used in previous vehicles. I'll show you guys in the front as well. They're decent. I've definitely had worse, but not my favorite. So let's talk about the seats. I'm going to link a ceramic coating kit down below for you guys. I haven't actually done it yet, but I've done it on previous vehicles. And the kit that I'll link is actually a leather conditioning or cleaning, conditioning, and coating kit. So that'll make it nice and easy. Let's see here. We'll also come in here. You can see, of course, the shifter kit that I did. I have a whole dedicated video on this. And this is the new cup holder insert sold by the same Etsy seller. So that makes it nice and useful that you can put another cup there or whatever. Otherwise, you can put AirPods, you can put your wallet, whatever you want there. Very easy install. Let's put that back in there just like that. If you plan on leaving this in there, maybe put a piece of like 3M double-sided tape or something in the bottom. That way it stays in a little bit better. And then that way, I mean, I don't think it's going to rattle. I haven't noticed any yet, but there could be a tiny bit of movement there, but that should be easy to mitigate with a little piece of foam or tape. Here we have the off-roam phone mount. I have a whole video on that as well. And of course, my favorite Spigen matte screen protector. I've had these on my last, 4 or 5 plus vehicles. Huge fan. I recommend it on every vehicle. This is actually a Model Y, Model 3 phone mount. This will actually not work on a Blue Cruise vehicle like mine because of the sensor here, but you can put it on the passenger side. I'll use this when I record like the landscape scenes or the highway like driving scenes on road trip videos, or you could use that for a passenger if you wish. I don't know if I'd buy it just to install it on here, but since I already had it, I just stuck it on there. Certainly doesn't hurt. But just a note, this will not work on the driver's side because of the Blue Cruise sensor here. Your Blue Cruise will not work if you put it here because it will block that. Something I forgot in the back seat, so let's toss this over there. So I actually added a release, so it's kind of tethered there. So that way you can actually put stuff back here if you wish. It's basically a little release kit for this. These are able to be released manually with tools if needed, but you can't really fit a whole lot back here, just being that you have so much stuff back here. But if you want to have something kind of stealthily hidden in the truck, you can put it back here. It is a little bit annoying to put the seat back, but totally doable. So I'd say it doesn't hurt to have more flexibility. I don't know what this connector holder's for. That's a little interesting. Maybe for this, I guess, if you remove the seats entirely. Not entirely sure. I guess that would make sense. But yeah, it's a nice little kit, pretty easy install. And let me show you how to. You have to kind of sometimes lift it, and then it will kind of latch itself once you do that. So not the easiest thing to do. And 2 other things to mention. One you can not see, but I definitely benefit from. I put a HEPA air filter, so that's behind there. It's a pretty easy install. Obviously, it's needed as a maintenance item, but also if you want to have it be a little bit better filtering, that's an option for you. I recommend changing cabin air filters on normal cars like non-Tesla bioweapon defense mode cars annually, especially for me in the South with pollen and all that. And it's only like $20-something, so very minimal cost overall. And then something that I've been meaning to install but haven't yet is a FitCam X. So it actually just mounts here, and then it looks like an OEM style dash cam, just points straight out. And then I'll also be mounting my radar detector up here. And something I've also been considering is a 3X. So you'd basically just see the comma there, and then it would be a dash cam and self-driving features. But Comet doesn't have a review program, and they are $1,000, so not in the budget at the moment. I can't really justify it, especially with Blue Cruise, but if someone wants to encourage that or enable that, I would certainly not be opposed. Anyway, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Would love to hear what you guys think. If you think I missed anything, or if there are any additional things you think I should include in this video as key accessories for an F-150 Lightning. See you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching.